All right, here we go. The watch list for Thursday, April 16th. ROSG. Big pop today. Had this pop about a week ago, gave a lot of it back, went sideways, and then a big pop today. So this one is probably my number one candidate for a possible big percentage mover tomorrow. Now, I have no idea how it's going to open, but I definitely want to watch this one. Hopefully it gives us a nice intraday setup. It's definitely poised for a big move. It already made a big move today on a percentage basis, but maybe we get kind of a sideways flat open or even a little gap down and then a red to green, something like that. But anything can happen. But it's my number one favorite going into tomorrow. And remember, as I babble here, I'm a day trader, so I don't take any stock home ever. So what I do is try to find stuff that could give me a nice trade tomorrow, okay? And I'll be in and out and in cash by the close again. So that's what I'm doing. So the longer term chart doesn't mean all that much to me, so keep that in mind. Okay, VBLT had a huge move back here from a little over $3 to almost 8, and really just kind of fell off the radar and has been going sideways, for almost 2 weeks now. A little bit of a volume pop today, though. It's starting to wake back up, and today's high was 519. So I want to watch that one. It's one of them. I like to focus on stuff that's had recent volume and passion. When I say that, I generally mean over the last 4 or 5 sessions, because then you can get the nice secondary moves. This one has gone dormant a little longer than I like, but it might just be getting ready to start up again. So I want to watch that one. If I had to pick a number, I like it over 519 tomorrow. There it is, kind of on 15-minute candles, 60. So it is interesting to me. We'll keep this one on watch. That's VBLT. It might continue higher tomorrow. Cuba, this one, I don't know. 184,000 shares today, but apparently, relations, I don't know the terminology for it, but our government is dropping them off the whatever unfriendly country list, whatever you want to call it. So this one tends to run on news like that now. After the couple days were gapped up and sold off, it's starting to get a little traction. Here it is on 15-minute candles. So I just have it on bounce watch, which means if it can trade in a narrow range for a while and then break to the upside through the high of the day sometime tomorrow, it might give a nice trade. It might rip through all these recent highs. So anyway, that's not my favorite binding stretch, but I want to have it on watch. I had PNK on watch for a bounce play today. Here it is on 5-minute candles. It never gave me any kind of setup. Some people in the room kind of took it as a bottoming play down here and had a really nice trade, but it didn't meet my parameters for a bounce play, so I just didn't do anything with it. In other words, you've heard me talk about this before. It put in its high in the first 30 minutes. I actually put it in the first 10 minutes. Now, had this come up here and then challenged the high of the day after this long sideways move, it might have gotten pretty busy to the upside. So, I'm only looking for a very specific thing when I post a bounce play, and I didn't get it, so it's just a no trade for me. DGLY, another day where it did not break its early high. I still like this one, and I like the story a lot. So I think this one is in for higher prices, but unfortunately, it'll probably come on a news item, and I think it's going to have to do with legislation. This is a lot of speculation for a chart reader, I understand, but I think it's going to come in the form of legislation being put forward for every police officer in the country to wear a body camera. And who knows, that might come tomorrow, it might come 3 weeks from now, but in the meantime, I want to have this on watch every day, okay? I said in the conference little thing I did yesterday on Ticker TV that if you ever watch the show Cops, you don't ever see 4 or 5 cops beating the crap out of somebody because there's a cameraman. Well, I don't want to say it like that. I don't want to sound anti-police. Not because there's a cameraman there. Otherwise, they would be doing. That's not what I'm intimating. I'm just saying that anyone is going to act right, knowing they're on camera, and that would I would prefer every policeman to have a camera on at all times. That'd be a good deal for all of us. So. Yeah, don't take that the wrong way. It sounded terrible. But anyway, so that's my theory, is that there's going to be legislation put forth and maybe acted upon where it's going to be mandatory. And whether or not Digital Ally gets the bulk of those orders, I'm not saying that. It won't matter. It's a low float with a lot of shorts, and it could rip higher. Now, again, as I started to say, it didn't break its early high. These are 15-minute candles. after this big move. So like after this big 2-day move, it didn't break its early high the next day, or the next day, or the next day, or today. But today it's starting to get into a more narrow range. So I actually kind of like it long over 1409 tomorrow. Let's look at the daily again. But it's not, I love stuff that's got another catalyst nearby. So if this breaks 1409, you look to the left, it's not like it's then going to rip through 16. So, but I do think it's going to start working its way back up here, especially if it can break a previous day's high. So for now, if you had to have a number, I would say over 1409, but that's not like a breakout play. But keep your eyes on it anyway. If news comes out, I could see it going all the way back to 16 in one day. And I think hopefully it's finding some support here at the 8-day. So I've drawn a line there at the high. But again, that's not like a massive catalyst, right? 1409, 1410. But I think it is overdue for a bounce. And everything else I just said about it, keep all that in mind as well. SYRX. SYRX. Huge move, gave it all back, and then a secondary move was even bigger. And so now you've had 15-minute candles here. Actually, yesterday it sold off and actually took out the highs, which just shows how strong this sucker is. Today it never did break its early high, put in a lower high. I kind of like this over 237 if you had to have a number. And again, I don't like putting out numbers because I don't know how the market's going to open tomorrow. So I don't know how SYRX is going to open tomorrow. But I kind of like it over 237. That could be enough to get it through today's high of 242 and then maybe challenge and break through these recent highs again. GBSN, couple days lower after some really nice moves here. Got to have that one back on watch. Again, you notice I focus on recent volume and passion. AXN, I don't really love this one. I mean, I love the chart, but I like it. I won't touch it unless it breaks this 2-day high over 208. So, maybe put that number in your notes. 209 could easily get this thing ripping higher. And keep in mind, I don't know how it's going to open. So it might open at $1.70. If it runs up to 209 at that point, it will be extended in the short term. So, make sure you analyze these on an intraday basis, which is what I do before I ever take an entry, okay? And then I also noticed PEIX, which is, big volume back here, and it went to 1216, kind of a cup and handle, and today it hit 1212. So over today's high, 1213 should get it through 1216, and 13 is possible same day. This one moves nicely as it did. We caught this on a gap play this day, one of my best trades this day, and I haven't touched it since, I don't think. But now, again, I like it finally. 1213 is my number, over 1213. All right, we'll find gappers as well in the morning. I'm going to leave my list at that. I'm trying to make my lists a little bit more manageable. We'll focus on these, but I'll also hopefully find some nice gappers in the morning to watch for. Hopefully, a lot of times I'll make my daily goal in the first 20 minutes if I get a gap play setting up the right way. So, and then any of these other trades that set up is just gravy, right? So, all right, I'll quit babbling. Have a great night, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.